this game guns blazing offensively. Like, pedal to the metal. And I'm not saying this because you got Bryce Underwood and other dudes on campus. It doesn't matter. Bryce Underwood being on campus doesn't bother me for what you got to do to win the game. You don't put a game plan together in reference to a specific recruit being in town or at your game. But in this one, you're going to have to start slinging it, because I do think that rushing yards early could, not saying it will be, could be tough. I don't know if Auburn has seen a more diverse, meaning physical and speed and strength in reference to an offensive line, but they've played really good ones. A&M's got a pretty good offensive line. Georgia's got a really good offensive line. You're going to have to open it up early, because if you do and you're able to have a fast start, which LSU, one thing under Jaden at times, they have not had, if you start off early and you get them down 10, 14, 17 points, they're going to really struggle. They're not built to come back from stuff like that. They want to limit you to the least amount of possessions possible. They do not want LSU's offense on the field. Auburn's game plan is simple. They're going to run the ball, try to get in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and at least at long 3rd and 5, and they're going to try to convert every single 3rd and short and move the football on you that way. They're not going to come out here guns a-blazing. At least we have not seen that. Now, could they do that after a bye week? I don't know, but it doesn't matter, because you got to come out like Rocky and Rocky 3. The second matchup against Glubber Lang, when Apollo Creed taught him speed, speed, speed. I'm not talking about running around and catching the chicken from Mick speed. I'm talking about come out there, jab, 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 jab. You got to come out there guns blazing, swinging some haymakers, because what you cannot do with a team that is physical and likes to run the football like Auburn, you can't keep them around. Guys, ask Georgia. Blake, that game was at home last week or a couple weeks ago for Auburn. Sure, it was. Doesn't mean that they didn't keep the game close. Georgia has no business only winning that game by 7. And if you think, as chaotic as they've looked offensively, that Auburn is not going to try to come in here and swing and be physical, you're wrong. You got to get off to a fast start. Doesn't mean you got to score a crap load of points in the first quarter. You don't have to go full Mizzou and score 22 points in the first quarter, but you're going to have to score very quickly, early, to get them behind in points early for them to try to have to change up their game plan to keep up with you. The good news is they don't have the corners to match up with your dudes. Now, they have 2 safeties that will, and like Brian Kelly said it just a minute ago in his press conference, we talked about it on Monday and Tuesday. They have safeties that will come down in the box and knock your block off. Who gives a shit? You be just as physical as they are at the point of attack. They want to be physical. Sounds cute. So do we. So do we. You go out there wanting to punch them in the mouth just as much as they – guys, they took it to Auburn. Auburn took it to Georgia in the first half. They took it to A&M in the first half up front. Start off fast. Get number 8 and number 11 the ball quickly. Let them do their thing. Now, I'm not saying abandon the running game. I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination to abandon the running game. You can't. But what you're going to have to do is open it up early, because when you keep really bad teams around and they start getting hope, bad things can happen. Number 2, and I want to say this after number 1, after what I just said of starting off hot, starting off quick, starting off fast. Everything else is pretty much in no specific order. Offensively, I think that this team's going to have to use the middle of the field. I think that they're going to have to find ways at times to get Mason Taylor the football. Now, we have not talked about Mason Taylor a bunch on this show because really and truthfully, he has not been getting the looks even to that he got a year ago. The middle of the field has been wide open at times for teams against Auburn. They have gotten lost in coverage in the 3 games that they've had defensive miscues has been when the tight end is getting involved in the passing game. I'm not saying that Mason Taylor is going to have a breakout game. I don't think he goes for over 100 yards and a pair of scores. I don't think that that's happening. But I do think when you have safeties as good and physical as Auburn does, the way that you get them to creep up, the way that you get them to not really completely bracket and double neighbors or completely go after Brian Thomas Jr. or whoever it may be, is that you got to utilize the middle of the field and you got to get it in your tight end in that part of the middle of the field. They've struggled there. Now, Mason's going to have to be big because he's going to take some really big hits, some massive hits. But I promise you this, outside of Alabama, I don't know if you play a more complete defense, to be real with you. I think A&M has got the dudes up front. They got studs along their defensive line. Their secondary smells of Bourbon Street trash water. You know, babies' diapers that have been sitting out in the hot sun. That's what their secondary smells like. If you smell, they suck. They suck. I'm not worried about A&M other than their front four defensively. There's nothing that they do other than that. Now, they got dudes all over the place. They got a good offensive line, good running backs. I think Max Johnson's an average quarterback. That secondary is dookie water, trash water, completely horrendous. Doesn't bother me. This defense is for real. Utilizing the middle of the field will soften them up for the wide receivers. You gotta get Mason Taylor an early look or two. And look, what they may do, they may take my thought and use him in the flat more to get the safeties down. Works just as effectively. Works just as effectively in doing that. Now, Kevin, I don't know what you're rolling your eyes on, but I promise you, I've watched more film than anybody in the chat. I promise you. I'm not trying to be cocky on that. I am just telling you, if you are not careful, this is a good defense. If LSU offensively comes out early, puts up 49 points against Auburn, we gonna really have to have a conversation about how good this offense really is, because this defense is really good, man. They're really good. Listen, this is Auburn, man. They are 20th in the run game. Rush defense, they're in the top 50s. Scoring defense, they're 25th. They're 25th without an offense. So when I look at these numbers, when I look at them, it's exactly what they want to do. They will light you up. Light them up, I'm on fire! That's what they want to do. If you want to get him out, Mason Taylor out into the middle of the field, that's fine. You can also utilize getting the tight ends into the flat, getting those safeties down and having to come to tackle. That will open up some things for Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. But if you're going to throw the ball 30, 35 times in this game, Mason Taylor's got to have at minimum 6 to 7 targets. At minimum. It's my opinion. That's my opinion. I've said for the last 4 weeks, and I will end number 2 with this. I don't really have anything else to say offensively. Hey, man, there's one schematic thing that maybe that can help you get those safeties down so that Malik Neighbors and BTJ's not taking big hits. That's about it. So we've talked about Jaden Daniels and his ribs all week. He's fine. Talk to people around Jaden. Talked to him on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then talked to one of them. One of them texted me during Brian Kelly's press conference when they asked, media asked a silly question. The bottom line becomes Jaden's fine. Jaden's good to go. And the dude, look, I could have a whole show, and I probably should go on a little bit of a tangent on this. And you know what? Frick it, I am. Brian Kelly mentioned this in his press conference just a minute ago. Jane Daniels taking the hits that he took it. Jane Daniels taking the hit that he did against Missouri in the end zone that should have been a flag. And the team seeing that he's hurt coming out of the tent, running 35 yards for a touchdown, crawling on the ground because his ribs are hurting. And look, dude, there's no more iconic picture of the season, in my opinion, than Logan Diggs running up to Jaden Daniels and picking him up, putting his arm around Jaden, and running him off the field. I got to be real with you. That made me a little emotional because there's photos of this now, like LSU published them. There are photos of the entire team getting off the bench to greet your quarterback when he scored. The entire team. He is the face. He is the number one leader. Jane Daniels doesn't have to say another word all year. What he does do is that when he plays the way that he does, it's like Burrow. Burrow's not the big, loud dude in the room. He's the cerebral assassin. And what you see with these type of quarterbacks, man, okay, all right. Jaden's going to be fine. Now, listen. Get down. Jaden, get down. Don't take those hits. Now, the one against Missouri, that's not on him. Should have been a flag, whatever. Don't take those hits. Get out of bounds, get down, slide, do something. Don't take any more. All right, number 3. Pent Jones, I do see your super chat, buddy. I'm going to get to it in just a second. The next 3 are going to be completely focused on defensively. Here's the ball game. You ready? It's not offense. It's not the running game. It's not getting off to an early start. It's not anything of it offensively. There's nothing. I cannot envision that happening. But if you do not play fundamental, smart defense up front, you are going to have massive issues. What do I mean by that? Guys, Auburn is going to run zone read. They're going to run RPOs off of the zone read. They're going to get their tight ends out in the flat off of a little waggle. An RPO waggle read is what they technically, or I guess even calling it now. I don't know what Hugh calls it, but it's what basically it would be called. They're going to run counter. They're going to run their quarterback. They're going to run quarterback counter. They're going to fake jet sweeps. They're going to run jet sweeps. They're going to run really quick screens. And if you are not disciplined, Georgia in the first half, you are going to have issues. Georgia's the best team in the country. And in that first half of that game, Georgia thought, hey, man, we're bigger. They are. We're stronger. They are. We're faster. They are. But you know why Auburn was able to move the ball on them? They were very undisciplined. Zone read, Peyton Thorne taking it to the outside. Peyton Thorne, even though his ability isn't there, he will make some right decisions. And so will Robbie Ashford. And when Robbie Ashford, the second quarterback that you're going to see on Saturday, gets the ball in his hands and starts taking off, I'm going to be holding my breath being like, please, sweet baby Jesus, get him down. Get him down. If your front four defensively, Harold Perkins included, does not play assignment football, you are in for a very, very long night. Now, Matt House, I don't like telling coordinators what to do. It's never been my style. I don't like saying you need to run this, this, and this. You're going to have to send the house. Puns intended. You are going to have to knock Peyton Thorne's head off. Get your dudes to him, because as soon as he gets hit, we've seen all year long, he gets rattled. Send the house, unleash the fucking Kraken if you have to. Get after him. Stop playing this passive Rudy Poo BS. It's not the week for it. Tell your dudes that they have this assignment and this gap. Make Peyton Thorne, who, by the way, the last five games that Auburn has played a Power 5 opponent, they have not thrown for 100 yards. I think they're going to throw for 100 yards on you this week. I think that's going to happen. Okay? Make them beat you doing it. Like your boy Coach Yost says on Remember the Titans, blitz all night. You got to get after them. That is how you stop the running game. If you are playing on your heels and you are and they want to come and run the ball on you, it's not going to bode well. You have an opportunity here to make a statement at home. I know Auburn has been, and they are what they are. Defensively, you can make a statement. If you start getting some stops, this offense is going to break through and score a lot of points. The main thing that LSU has been so bad at defensively, we talked about it during the non-playing portion of the year. Matt House has been horrendous at getting off the field on third down. Auburn's been horrendous at staying on the field on third down. Something has to give. Auburn in the last 2 weeks or last two games against Texas A&M offensively, they went 3 of 15 on third down. No, that's against Georgia. Excuse me. Against Georgia, they went 3 of 15 on third down. This is on me. Stat's still true. Go look it up if you want to. A&M, they went 3 of 15 on third down. Against Georgia, they went 2 of 12. And guys, both of those games for long periods of time were one-score games. That's how you know that defense for Auburn locked things down, is because they kept coming on the field drive after drive after drive, and it didn't matter. Carson Beck threw for 330 plus, and it didn't matter. Because even when they got in the red zone, Auburn was lighting dudes up. You got to play discipline. You got to send the house. And if you play passive and you play on your heels and you do not try to get after them, it's not going to be I'm telling you, people are sleeping on this shit now. People are sleeping on it. Y'all look at Auburn's record. Your record in college football doesn't always mean how good you are or how bad you are. This is not like the NFL. There can be 2 and 3 lost teams that if they lined up against another team in another conference, they're going to kick their ass. Like, let me give you an example. LSU is 4-2, and if they played USC today, I think they blow them out. Maybe I shouldn't probably say blow them out. They're going to score 60. Right? They're going to score 60. USC defensively is just as bad, if not worse, than you are. That's why I think Notre Dame's going to win this week. Play disciplined, fundamental, sound football, and you are going to win 42-17. If you don't, that score is going to condense very quickly. All right. We talked about third down briefly for just a minute. Did LSU find something in that second half versus Missouri? This ties into kind of a Ruffino's rant I wanted to go on. However, I'll do it in this segment, and it's you go take it. A year ago today, you were 4-2. LSU was 4-2. Fast forward a year after getting beat by Tennessee, you're 4-2 again. The offense last year was your problems. The defense wasn't the issue. Now it's flip-flopped. But after Tennessee, that offense found something. Remember against Florida. Remember against Ole Miss. Hell, remember, I mean, I thought that they had a hell of a game against Alabama. Hell of a game. I thought that was one of their I thought that was Denbrock's best called game, to be honest with you, of that year. Last week and last 3 weeks was, I mean, he was phenomenal too. But the late touchdown against Tennessee and the late production against Tennessee, late,